Folks, what's going on? This is Arden here from the Foresight. I'm back with a new edition of The Punch-In, our new interview series. First things first, I really have to give you guys, the viewers, the followers, et cetera, a huge thanks for supporting us. Again, supporting Foresight as a whole over the course of the summer. You know, making sure you guys are tuning in, staying in check with us, man. Obviously, we came back with our season opener of a podcast, and you guys showed us a lot of love with the first episode of The Punch-In. Gotta give a huge thanks to Stillion for agreeing to do the interview. It was a very dope interview. And of course, a huge salute to my guys over at Square One Productions, man, along with Son of Sam Films. But I'm very excited about this one, coming to you live from the Guitar Center at Rich Hill in Yonkers. Gotta get back to Yonkers, man. You already know the vibes with that, man. It hits close to me, man. Home sweet home. And with our special guest for today, I remember the first time, Casket, when I heard your music. Well, I heard a verse of yours. It was on a record. It was you, Shorts, shout out to Shorts, and Brew. It was on the Kodak Black Tunnel Vision remix. And it was funny enough because when I was preparing for the interview today, I was like, all right, what is that record? So I'm like looking on, you know, the YouTube channel, couldn't find it. Then I went on the other channel and I found it. And there was a quotable by you at in that record that I remember at that time I was saying over and over because it was such a dope line. It was such a dope line. And I actually have it written up in here. And that record is probably my favorite lyric of yours for me. It was simply, "Mama's tears, that's the product of hesitation." And I remember hearing that and I was like, yeah, I gotta play that back because that's tough. And there's something real about it, just the realization of it. Again, "Mama's tears, that's the product of hesitation." And you're an artist, Casket D, that you are, I think, in all seriousness, in every sense of the word, successfully independent, working at this so hard. So clearly you're hard working, you're focused, you're very deliberate in how you go about doing these things. And you're also just very supportive. That's another thing too that's been dope about Casket, man. Just the last several months of us getting to know each other, at least through social media. And this is our first time meeting each other today.
Fact.
Is the fact that he's constantly been supporting us. We've constantly been supporting him. It's been genuine, and it's just dope to just support those that it is absolutely real and focused on their mission. So, folks, on our second edition of The Punch-In, got our guy.
His name Casket. He say he gonna put niggas straight in the casket if they fuck with him.
Definitely, and I appreciate that too. That shout out to Shorts too. Shorts reached out to me for that record, and we did a couple. Shorts been on a couple venues that I've been on and cards that I've been on, bills and shit.
Yeah.
So we built a relationship through that, and he was like, "Yo, I got something. I want you to jump on." I'm like, "Yeah, shoot it my way or whatever." So I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a cook on this, bro." Like it gave me that feel, and then he was like, "Yo, you know, we had plans to actually shoot the visual in everybody's hood."
Yeah.
And then it transpired where we didn't really have the time, so we was like, "Yo, we're gonna shoot it out here and the planes come through." I'm like, "Yeah, love, no doubt." And it was a great time, man.
Yeah.
Showed nothing but hospitality and all that. Shout out to the whole Vanity and Brew and everybody too. It was a good time. But that verse, like, that was all real rap. Like a lot of my music, period, is nothing's really fabricated. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get a little braggadocious and some shit like that, but for the most part, it's not. And I was like, you know, we got somebody from New Rock, we got somebody from the Plains, we got somebody from YO on this record. I'm gonna let them know what's up with me and where I'm from, you know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that it reached ears like you and other people that weren't familiar at that time. And I'm sure it did vice versa with, you know, people that I have a following with, or Brew did, for instance, because I know they worked together before that, and all of that. But like a lot of my homies was like, "Yo, I fuck with dudes, like they was spitting, that was dope, homie was dope, you know, da da da." So, you know, that's that cross branding that's very important in 100%. This culture. And I just feel it has to be organic, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not out here reaching out to nobody really. Like if we cross paths and it ends up being like, "Yo, you got a dope vibe, I got a dope vibe," and we kick it, it's gonna naturally occur. And I feel like you can hear that when it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? So I just never been that type of dude. I'm always a go get mines. I don't really need nobody for nothing type of guy. So, but it was a dope record, man. It was a good moment in time too. So I appreciate that you love that verse. I love that verse too.
Yeah, part of that verse as well, man. I think was just like and that's not to say it can't happen. Well, I'll say it. You can have a good verse, you can have a great verse, but I think that verse for you was transcendent because of the fact of like, you clearly reached another level. Like you really reached what we say in the culture, like that God flow. Like your first half was already like dope. It's like, all right, like this is dope. Like what's up?
Yeah.
And then it got to the second half and you just started spazzing. Like it's like as if you was already comfortable, but then you got to another level of comfort. So now it's like, all right, watch this now. I could do this. I could do that. I'm about to start playing with the flow. I'm about to start playing with the lyrics. Like I'm really about to just show you more and more. And that's what that's what really made it resonate to me more. And that's not to say like I wouldn't have checked for you or enjoyed the verse any less, but it helped me enjoy the verse more because it's like, wow, like it's really seeing somebody at the top of their game show us that you could reach another level. Yeah,
you can. I mean, evolution should be in any creator's mind, right? And like my rappers probably know this, like you hit different kind of levels, right? Through your career, or even if it's not a career for you, but through your time being a creator and writing music. So you get to different peaks and you're like, then you break through there and you just get where you're so comfortable that you get nicer and nicer. But that also occurs in verses. So it's almost like, you know, when you playing ball, right? And maybe the first quarter or something, you're not draining every three, but you balling. Then all of a sudden you on fire. You get in a certain type of zone where, and that's why I say sometimes 16s, they cut you short sometimes before you actually hit that. You can hit that zone in the second ball. Sometimes it takes longer. You know what I'm saying, to actually hit that.
And sometimes you don't hit the zone at all. It's a good
sometimes
performance, but
that's
it's not the zone.
Of course. Every game is not a Jordan Flu game. You know what I'm saying? So, but I thought that verse was one of those joints too. Like, and I was like, and the friendly competition in rap brought that out too as well. So it's like I tell people all the time, I never want to have somebody outside of my camp eat me, right? And not to sound arrogant, but I don't feel that's happening since a young pup, right? But I go out my way to make sure that's not going to happen with somebody outside. Now, if it happens to be somebody from my own camp, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But for somebody outside of the camp, it's like, even if you thought they hung or whatever, you're not gonna. It'll be a debate. You're not gonna sit here and be like, "Yo, Duke ate him." That ain't gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? But that's the beauty of and nature of rap. Like it's a competitive sport. It sparked from the parks and battling. And I came, you know, I'm not old at all. I'm a young dude, but I came up around a lot of older dudes, and you had to battle. You had to be in the ciphers on your block and in the street or in the studios or in the school lunchroom or wherever it was at. You know, the internet. I think that's one thing that a lot of the young dudes now should find a way to do, because some of them just don't have that hunger to be elite, right? And I feel like that actually, you had no choice to do that. Because it didn't matter, the internet wasn't really popping as much back then, so you couldn't have just blew up on the internet. You know what I'm saying? That changed the game for indie acts. But at that given time, you had to earn your stripes somehow, some way.
That's right.
And that was the way to do it. You know, and I feel like that that created animal in a lot of people. And it's
also just the fact that there was one quick point too. I also think, and this is something I learned a lot about as well recently about features. There's a certain respect amongst rappers when you give somebody that last verse and you say go off. Because it's kind of like it's an alley to basically kill everybody. Like, it's like, we could have a very dope showing, but if we giving you the last spot and it's, oh, by the way, take us home, that is a signal for like how much, that is a signal for how much they respect you. Just that aspect of, okay, we respect you that much for the fact that we'll give you that last verse for you to just do whatever you want and to go into it.
That's a fact. It has to be like that, to be quite honest. I mean, sometimes, you know, the beginning of a record and the end of a record mean a lot. It's extremely important because it's the first thing somebody's hearing when they turn it on, and they might turn it off after that if not. And to just end with a bang, you know what I'm saying? It's just like the first scene in the movie and the end scene. You don't want to end off weak and start off weak. The middle you might have some time, and in the record you never want that period. You want from start to finish to be polished and how you want it. But at the end, and in the beginning of them records is very important. And it is a respect factor. Like, I appreciated it. I was like, yo, let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
So just to get back to the Shorts record that you guys have with the Tunnel Vision, how did you guys even come about making that?
Shorts reached out to me. That was Shorts' vision, if I'm correct. And he was like, yo, I got something I want you to jump on. I was like, yeah, I'm all for it, bro. And then I thought it was gonna be actual record at first, like, you know, an original. And then when he told me what it was and it was gonna be like a freestyle, I was like licking my chops, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I get to just go, no problem. Like, and it was dope. I think I sent him, I don't know if I did send him back my verse, like a voice recording of my verse, or he set up the session up in Union Music.
Union, shout out to Music, our guy JB.
Shout out to Guap and all of them out there.
Those guys.
And he had a session lined up for it. And he was like, yo, we gonna be locked in if you wanna come and do that joint. I was like, hell yeah. It just so happened that week I was terribly sick. You know what I'm saying? Like bad, like, and it was all in my throat, pause. But not like a head cold. I wasn't really just stuffy. It was like I couldn't even speak. So I'm like, yo, bro, I'm gonna come, but I don't know what you gonna get out of me. So I came and I was like, I don't care, I'm doing it regardless. Like, he was like, yeah. You know, the vibes was right. He had his whole crew in there. Yep. Everybody was sipping, smoking, getting right, chilling.
Everybody's welcoming.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, oh, it's on. Like, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, worst case scenario, I'll come back a couple days when my you know, I'm all healed up, and I'll re-record it. And I recorded it, and it was like, oh, damn, bro, you killing that? Like, you know what I'm saying? They were showing mad love. And I'm like, yo, I'm still gonna re-record it, you know what I'm saying? So I did come back by myself one time. I came back, I'm like, I reached out to Guap, like, yo, I gotta re-record that. He's like, yeah, no doubt, come through. Hit me up, like, yo, I got an hour right now if you wanna come. Yeah, no doubt. Bust it down. And we ended up deciding, yo, to run with the original version. It was just something about that energy on it, even though my voice was tainted compared to my regular track voice. I guess the environment, you know what I'm saying? You got 25 dudes in there, it just brings out a different aura, you know? And it was displayed on the record. And we decided to run with that one. But like I was telling my mans back home, because I think I came to that session dolly too. Yeah. I think most of the dudes I run with on a regular basis, they was either caught up or I might have not even reached out to nobody like that.
You just pulled up.
Yeah, I pulled up.
And sometimes that leaves a bigger impact too.
Yeah, that's what I said too. I was like, yo, I'm pulling up, like, regardless. I might have told maybe my right hand Blizzard, but he might have been busy. But outside of that, I'm not. You know, we deep. Like, we could be 100 deep at any given point, but there's a lot of times that you're gonna catch me dolo too. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy thing. You get 100 deep.
Yeah. Shout out to all these venues in NY, man. They know SOBs and all of that. Like, we coming through the door 100 deep. Like, I felt like it was my, you know, this is getting a little off track, but I felt like it was my responsibility to represent where Yonkers was from on the indie scene. You know, because you go to and on different bills I was headlining, or even if it was early on when I wasn't headlining. Everybody was either from Queens or BK or Harlem, you know, the Bronx. And
even Jersey, you know.
Yeah, Jersey would even be in these venues deep. Not deep, but there'd be 2 or 3 acts there sometimes. And I'd be the only dude most of the time, let alone from Westchester, let alone from Yonkers. So I'm like, oh, they gonna know where I'm from. Like, we flood that out. And they always be like, yo, y'all strong, man. Y'all come out, yeah, that's how we roll. Like, but yeah, that session was a dope session.
That's a big like motivation for me when it just comes to anything I've been doing, especially just with Foresight, man. It's just the strength of Westchester, just our presence. Because again, when you talk about the boroughs, you talk about Jersey, heck, even freaking Staten Island, Long Island, they will always have a representative there.
Oh yeah, always.
Whether they want to represent them or not.
Always,
They will always have somebody there, and they have such distinct styles that people will know, that's a Manhattan
that's
dude,
such
that's
and
a
such.
Brooklyn
He's from here,
such and such, yada yada.
You could tell even before they even speak sometimes, just by the way they walk or the way they dressing.
And it's just different because like Westchester, we don't have that, so it is up to us to make sure folks understand that. And there was an earlier point I wanted to touch on, because you said, you know, not necessarily being older, but you've hung out with a lot of older guys, you know, OGs, wise guys, and that hit home to me as well, because I definitely have had my share of older friends that I was able to hang with and learn a lot from. Yeah. You know, and especially because like, I'm 26, so I just think back to even when I was like 15, the difference between being able to hang out, me being 15 and hang out with a 20-year-old up, and them being mature and wise made a huge difference.
That's a fact.
And you also touched on just that face-to-face aspect of when coming up and competing and understand how to get better and to test the waters. To what extent do you remember from those times that you challenge yourself, whether it's going against another rapper going into another cypher, whatever the case may be, that you felt like, yo, I gotta come up here, I gotta see what it's like?
That even before I started rapping, I was challenging myself because I was outside at a very young age, and I didn't have an older brother. So shout out to my cousin Sif, Body. He's my older cousin, and he's about 5 years older than me. So he was the closest thing I had to an older brother at the time. And my uncle Vic. But my uncle Vic was about 12 years old. So I wasn't really hanging out with him. I was hanging out with my cousin Maul. Like, his real name's Maul. And we was vibing all the time. So I was outside running with him and his friends. So a lot of the kids from my neighborhood that were my age, they used to have like kind of like a secret beef with me at the time when we were real young, because they see me running with the older dudes and getting love from them. And so my cousin Vest, my cousin Vest too, shout out to Vest, like from my neighborhood. They all embraced me because I had somebody that was their age bracket that was my blood, you know what I'm saying? So all of the people that was 5, 6, 7 years older than me was embracing me. And from there on, I had to compete because I had to either rumble or I didn't have people to run to, you know what I'm saying? So I was outside, I had to do what I had to do. Like, and then that turned into rap. So when I started rapping, it was the same thing. Like, here's some Yonkers history too. Shout out to Son of Sam. Sam was one of the dudes that was like incredibly good at a point in time when we were young, right? And I remember him coming to, we all from the same side of town, South Side. And there's a park where I represent all the time. If you listen to my music, it's Culver Park. And he came to the park one time, and I remember there was a couple people spitting. And I wasn't in this cypher at the time. This is kind of when I really first started out rapping. And I was nice though, but he made me say, yo, damn, man, like, I gotta get nice. Cause Sam was he was super nice as a young kid. And then I remember like maybe a year or so later, I just was determined. I got so dope, you know what I'm saying? And that's when I was like everywhere, whatever block, you know. There was a lot of people like shout out to Highland and Locust and different hoods. You had to go there and test the waters with whoever they nice dude was, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what it came from, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just ultra competitive by nature. I guess that's genetics, but I want to win everything, bro. Like, we play ball, I want to win, you know what I'm saying? I never was blessed to be as physically gifted as most of the sports, like people in the sports I played. But rap was something different. I was determined too. Like it's like being in the gym, bro. Like, I'm in the studio daily. So it's like being in the gym daily. You're gonna be pretty fit. You in the gym daily and you eating right. So I'm in my gym every day. I'm in the studio every day. I'm working on music. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that work ethic separated me from a lot of my peers early on, where some people might have had that talent, but they didn't nurture it enough. And they didn't grow. A lot of people stayed where they were several years ago, and it's like, dude, I'm gonna get better and keep getting better, you know what I'm saying? So if I was that good then, don't see me in 3 years from now. You know, if you ain't working how I'm working. And that's always just been my mentality and drive with kind of anything in life. And I take that approach with anything. I got a young daughter now, and I'm instilling in her now. You ask her right now, what's the 2 things daddy hates the most? She'll tell you it's a liar and a quitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't do those things over here. Not in this family, you know? So.
In those times back then, man, where you really just traveled around and competed, it brings back good memories for me because it's like, I didn't have that musically or anything necessarily in the streets or anything with the youth, but it was more like that with basketball. Like, when I was growing up playing a ton of basketball, and this was back when And1 mixtape was popping and was trying to be hot sauce and all that stuff. Like, at my park, you know, my park back then, that I guess you could say like I repped and I kept going back to it over and over for those reps, was the Martin Luther King Park. And I used to go there all the time because it'd be right by where I lived in Slow Bombs, right by, I think, by Locust.
That's on Locust.
And reputation starts getting big and folks start spreading. You killing it at this part, and then it's like, yo, bro, you got to go over here. Then you got to go over there, and you got to go by the PAL, and you got to go by the YMCA, and it just reminds me of those times because it really was like that. It's like, yo, I got to go by these different parks, and I remember I had that moment where I got like a little big because I like played in the open run for the And1 mixtape tour. And this is again with N1 is like
Oh
popping.
yeah, that's N1 was the shit.
So dudes found out, they're like, yo, you played in the N1 open room. So it just brings back good times, just thinking about those memories and stuff. And as we transition, especially in rap, especially in the culture, you know, I think we're a very welcoming culture, you know, for the most part. And there comes those times where, again, you look at hip hop, you look at being a black culture, and even with it being welcoming, where you do have people that come in that aren't black, that sometimes aren't from those areas that helped build it, and they come in. Some appreciate it and know who they are in it. Some don't. As a non-black rapper, what helped you just understand and fully embrace hip hop culture? Because what's your background, by the way?
My mother's Italian, my father's Puerto Rican. So,
Okay.
I was kind of bred into it from my older cousin, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But like we from the hood, so we was surrounded by it, and he put me on to everything. I was like I said, he was the closest thing to my older brother. So whatever he was doing, even my Uncle Vic that I mentioned earlier too.
Yeah.
So he used to knock, you know, everything hip hop. He's a hip hop head. And then my cousin Maul, and his brother Jahan, they was playing, you know, Biggie and Wu and Smooth the Hustler and Trigger the Gambler, like shit like that, like, you know, Mobb Deep. And I just like fell in love with it, you know, the whole culture. But like I said, like I feel like when you grow up in the hood, like New York period is a melting pot, and Yonkers especially.
100%.
So I'm from the South Side. The South Side is considered more a Spanish side, you know what I'm saying? So like my side of town, it was a lot of black dudes, but there also was a lot of Puerto Rican and Dominican dudes.
100%.
So most of my friends that I grew up with in my neighborhood were Dominican, Puerto Rican, and black, you know what I'm saying? Mostly, but like I said, there was a lot of Dominicans that we grew up with too. So we just were all around it. Like it's different from us. Like I feel like when you from like the Midwest and stuff like that, where it's not necessarily, or even like the suburbs, upstate, music is just like anything else, bro. It can engulf you. You fall in love with something and then you want to be a part of that. You know, it's just like if my man Blizzard, he's Jamaican, so he grew up eating Jamaican food. That never stopped him from loving Spanish food when he experienced it, or Italian food or something like that. So I feel like it's the same with music, and it's also the same with fashion. It's also the same with things like in sports. Like, you know, you could grow up playing baseball and then fall in love with basketball at an older age. I just think with music, especially hip hop, it's a lot more touchy because it's also a culture, right?
Yes.
So yes, it is a music genre, but deeper than that, it's an actual culture that people live, right?
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle that derived from the ghettos of New York, specifically the Bronx, and was ushered in by Black and Latino people from the Bronx, right? So when you don't know the history and you don't respect it, it's gonna be frowned upon. And especially if you're considered a guest, right, in hip hop.
Yeah.
Like I've never felt like necessarily I was a guest, 'cause like I said, I grew up born and raised in Yonkers, New York, in the hood. So I was always a part. But there are people that might consider other people guests, or even may consider myself a guest. You have to be respected, and that comes with giving respect too, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's just like anything in life, bro. You give respect to earn it, you know what I'm saying? And people know who's who. Like, it's not really hard to tell who's genuine, who's really what they say in their raps and who's not, you know?
100%.
So I feel like that plays a part too. I think in hip hop period, whether you could be black, white, Spanish, Chinese, anything, right? Whatever it is, if you faking the funk, somebody gonna pull that card because they
100%.
see right through you. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So,
and I go back to like our first conversation that we had over the phone. It was just, again, like the word genuine just kept coming up, because being genuine is just such a big thing, man. And it's something that more than ever folks can see. Folks can see when it's not there.
for sure.
And it's one of the biggest qualities that could really help somebody just be fully entrusted into whatever they want to do. And I think it also helps with just their own pursuit of whatever it is that they're trying to do in their life. I really want to get into the first song that you feel as if defines who you are, you know, because that's that's my favorite part about this new series that we have here
Yeah, I
at
love that.
Foresight.
That was dope.
It's the fact that it's just more than just a typical interview. This is the aspect of hearing the music and hearing the music from another perspective, from the creator themselves, the breaking down of it. I like to compare this to when we watch sports and we see athletes talk with commentators and they break down a play, how they did this, how they did that. So for you, Casket D, what is that first song that you're gonna play for us?
All right, so the first record that I want to play is off my first album, right, which is called the 80 Loafs LP.
Okay.
So this dropped in 2015. Prior to that, I've been doing this a long time, man. I released several mixtapes before that. And most of the mixtapes were all original material too, so they kind of were like albums, but I didn't approach it like an album. I approached them like a mixtape, where there were a bunch of great records just kind of put together. When I did the 80 Loafs LP, which I had a concept for it to be part one of a trilogy series, right? And it ended up becoming the LP because technically it was too long to be an EP, but I constructed it like an EP.
Yeah.
So there's like 8 records on it, but technically 6 or under is an EP. And constructing it, I just wanted to make an album. So I said, yo, I'm not putting it together nowhere near like a mixtape. And I knew that was gonna actually take me to that next level with my supporters and listeners and stuff like that. So while constructing that, I was at actually my man Holiday's spot, and I had my boy, my brother Tally Boom there, and his son Lord Kai, right? And the Kai makes beats as well as his father.
Oh, wow.
Now he's our young boy, right? So we seen him grow up, but he's super talented. And I'm like, yo, you know, I'm in album mode. Play some stuff you've been working on. So he had a sample, and it's out of my mind right now. I can't remember what the sample was from, but he played something and right away, just like a lot of the time that's how I go. Like I wait till something fuels me, and I hear it and it's like, don't touch it, just leave it on. And that's what happened that day. Leave that right there. So I started working on it, and the records ended up being called The Code. And if you want, I could play it, and touch on it more.
Yeah.
But that record became a standout record on that album, and I personally feel like if I was mainstream, right, at that given point in time, it's a Grammy award-winning record. So that's one of those joints that I definitely think is worthy of playing, and I could kind of get into a little more detail of the construction as far as the thought process behind it.
And with that construction of the record, what was certain points that you felt like within the record that had to be fulfilled in order for it to really go to like the next level?
To that level? Well, it just fueled me from the production standpoint at first, right? And the way I approached that record was talking about kind of change, like the change that I wanted to see. But I wanted to, that comes at the climax of the record, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to get there, and I said, you know what? In order for me to get to what I want changed, I'm gonna talk about the things that I know. So I kind of speak on everything I know in that particular record. Like, I know such and such, I know this and that, you know what I'm saying? Giving them kind of, I can only talk about the things I know. And these things, some of these things need to be changed, you know what I'm saying? And I think there's a lot of standout bars in that record, and it's just a powerful, powerful song. And at the end of it, I had some of my nieces, man, shout out to my brother Q, Stop Being Q. He's one of the old dudes from my neighborhood that looked out for me too. And his 2 daughters, I was like, you know, I want some youth singing at the end of it, harmonizing with what I was doing. And I brought them aboard, and they did it and locked it. So it's dope, man. I want to play it and then could be able to touch on it a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, let's definitely do it, man. This is the guitar or the banjo?
I gotta find out what sample that was from.
Cannot change anything. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we
I can already see where you're trying to go with this.
change that we see.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm in my thoughts, I escape the world or I can face the world. Either or. I know famine is an issue, but it isn't beneficial for the government officials. They don't feed the poor. I know love, it don't lead to war. I know one drug always doesn't lead to more. I know financially.
You know what this already reminds me of? This already reminds me of Tupac's Change.
That's dope.
And I can see the change.
That's dope,
I can see
yeah.
his faces.
That's a great record too. I never even compared it to that, but that's a very valid comparison.
Yeah, like that the beginning, the way you come up to it.
Yeah, and even kind of that up-tempo feel,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like inspirational, but yet it still like has a groove to it.
Yeah,
dope.
it's that kind of feel, and that's why like it's like I could already see where you was going for in regards to like being a bigger artist. It's like, yeah, this is like the record that catches the world's
Yeah.
attention. Like this is the record that would gave you like your Logic moment.
Yeah.
Like, oh, are you the code guy? Like,
Yeah,
is this your
yeah.
record?
That's a fact.
Yeah, I see it.
You see what I've been reaching for. I see the devil and I'm clapping at that demon's jaw.
That relatability, seeing the struggles, things like that. Yep.
Christmas Day, I know that's why we celebrate Easter for. I know my youngest, they be feeling for a feature from me. I don't know why they really want a feature for. Cause they
Yeah,
don't do shit
yes.
with their music, but play for their homeboys, don't wanna pay the feature cost. I know my boss give you chills up your spine in this baseline, about to have the speaker sore. I know one thing, watch how you treat the law. They got badges and guns and they squeezing more. I know we dying in my city cause they
For good reason, I hear some of my favorite records from the last decade or so,
That's dope.
or last 2 decades. So like Tupac's Change.
That's dope.
This is gonna be a random one. Kanye's Touch the Sky.
Touch the Sky is dope record too.
Like the
so you,
like-
you feel that inspiration.
Yeah.
And that's where I was going with it. And it was the beat that fueled me, but I just
Mm-hmm.
felt like
And I guess like in the background, like the little, I guess, horns or
the
something.
horns.
It reminds me of Touch the Sky with the bum, 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 bum. Like this record's
Yeah.
gonna have a moment where it just explodes.
It breaks
like,
through, yeah, that's
like
dope.
your verse right now is leading us
It's
through,
leading into it.
us through. Then it's like, all right, take us home now.
That's
Now we're
right.
about to go. Like, so like I really get it.
When I fuck the world, I'ma keep it raw. She's so beautiful, would act like the cheapest whore. I know in life when you spill shit, you gon' slip on the same thing if you never clean the floor. I know a bully
That's
act
tough.
tough if you see his
Yeah, I love that
jaw
ball.
big as fuck.
That's
I'm knocking out
tough.
teeth galore. I know money green, that's who I'm dreaming for. I know I'm my own brand, y'all can keep the store free as a bird. I know what it means.
Wow, this is crazy.
I know the hood, that's who I'm speaking for. I know the youth, that's who I'm teaching for.
And to go almost 2 minutes of the straight bars, like
Yeah.
how do you? Because this was something I asked Julian about as well, because I was so impressed with one of the records he played me.
Yeah.
How do you maintain your pace? How do you maintain your breathing? How do you do that in those moments where it's fast forward, go, and you're on top of
Yeah.
bar on top of bar on top of bar on top of board, and the beat's encouraging it as well because it's building up and it's building up. Like, how do you maintain that kind of pace, that kind of rhythm?
You know what's crazy? Actually, there's a lot of time that when I was younger, right, and I was rapping, I don't know what I was on, but I thought I was like Rocky, like training, right? And I would go from my rib to the park with a basketball, and I would spit my raps like kind of like jogging with the basketball, trying to get my breath control up. Because I came from that era where it was like, you don't punch in. No one punches in. You don't punch in. You get your verse from start to finish. If you have to punch, it's no good.
Yeah.
Now I utilize the punch daily. I'm just a seasoned artist, and I know like as far as being a recording artist wise, you get the best quality sometimes when you punch in, you know what I'm saying? But at that point in time, you know, it was new to me, and I was taught you don't punch in, bro. You know what I'm saying? You get your verse from start to finish. So I've literally used to work on breath control and stuff like that. And I love, like, any album or project you ever heard from me, you're gonna hear at least one, if not multiple records where I'm just going on it. Where it's not a 16-bar verse, a hook. I don't always do them formatted records, you know what I'm saying? Like, my thing is music
Verse,
is art.
chorus,
Yeah, music
verse.
is art, bro. Like, people that just splatter paint on a canvas, there was people that told them that that's not art. And it became multi-million-dollar vessels of art at one point in time. You understand? So I don't stick to any little form or construct that they want to put me in. Like, art is art. There's no boundaries for it. So I'm going to do what I want to do, whatever that speaks to me on that song. And I just love to be able to go. I'm a lyricist, bro. So if it's up to me, I would go on every record. But, you know, there's certain ones that you're going to get me for 2, 3, 4 minutes just going on it. And that happened to be one of them. It was one I had a lot to get off my chest.
Play a little more of this, because, man, I really like this. I'm definitely downloading this. I'm
Love.
revisiting this.
Love, man.
That's a fact.
I know we need a change, and I know we need a change, and I know we need a change. I
Again, it's just so impressive to be 2 minutes in, 2 consecutive minutes into this, to continue with that kind of pace.
Yeah, it's dope. Dope record.
can feel it in my brain. I've been
It's a big record, man.
so I know we ain't the same. So I know we ain't the same. And I know
Crazy. There's something very unique about Yonkers that I was saying that for a while, the other cities I lived in clearly helped shape who I am, and for the better. Yonkers, I don't think I'm the person I am without the living experience I had in Yonkers. Because as I moved to other places, I guess my environment got better.
Yeah.
But that experience I had in Yonkers and everything let me really know what it is.
Oh, for sure.
In terms of just, the reality of life.
Definitely.
In those situations.
It's formative
Being grateful
years,
for what
too.
you have. Exactly, formative years,
Yeah.
my first friends, my first schools, my first interest.
Yep.
Things like that.
Definitely. I mean, that's your roots. You know what I'm saying? Like, that sparked who you were going to become as a man. Those adolescent years did that. And I feel like I love my city. You know, there's a lot of people that will ask all the time, like, anytime I do an interview or something, they'll be like, you know, being from Yonkers, like, do you feel you need to, and I'm like, I am Yonkers, like, you know what I'm saying? My whole life has been Yonkers, so it's like, I don't feel like I need to do something for the city. I am doing it for the city, because I am the city, you know what I'm saying? Like, the city is what made me who I am today, like.
Absolutely.
But this is something for other artists that I would like to say.
Yeah.
As much as I love my city, and I was a somebody in my city before music, like, people know who I am, like, I did my thing. I'm somebody in my city, period, right? Whether it was for music or not. Anybody, as much as you love your city, you have to get out of your city. If you have something more important that the world needs, or you feel the world needs, you cannot stay stuck in your city. And this is things that I really wanted to touch on.
Yes.
As much as I love my city, right? They're probably 25th on my list of cities that are playing me constantly, right? And I still get a lot of, like, I get a lot of support here. What I'm saying is, if I would have stayed in that little box, because there's a lot of people that just care about getting that clout from their town, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's cool.
And what's crazy is, sorry to cut you off, it's not even, they don't even try to reach as big as the town.
Yeah, or
It's
just their
neighborhood
neighborhood.
clout.
Yeah, just their neighborhood, exactly.
Yeah.
Just their neighborhood. You gotta see bigger than that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I make a living off of this. A lot of it is from merch, right? Because that's how you make most of your bread. I've done tons of streams, but streams don't really pay. You know what I'm saying? So it's shows, it's merchandise, and stuff like that. Dude, I'm shipping stuff out all the time to Cali, to Florida, to Pennsylvania, to the Midwest, even up into Canada, overseas at sometimes, you know what I'm saying? You have to be able, stop cutting yourself so short, bro. The people, my merch, like, the people that I know, that I know personally, they not even copping it 24/7. You know what I'm saying? It's never really the people that you're around 24 that's gonna catapult you to that next level.
That's a fact.
And I feel like that's been my benefit, is that I never seen myself, like, there's a record on Southie where I said I knew I was bigger than that itty bitty stoop when I was sitting there, you know what I'm saying, on the song Southie, actually. I knew that since a young kid, bro. Like, I love my city. I give my all to my city. I give back. I'm a coach, a youth sports coach. I do drives. I don't document all of this, because when you're giving, it's genuine for me.
Yeah.
It's not to be praised. It's for the
more
youth.
the
It's
focus
yeah.
is on actually doing
Exactly.
going.
But at the same time, I'm not stuck in this box, man. I know that my art and who I am is bigger than that too. And I know that the best way for me to represent my city is to be bigger than just my city. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's always been my goal. My goal as an artist is to have the best discography in all of hip hop. That's my goal. I want to be mentioned in the conversation with the 4 or 5 artists that have the best discography in hip hop. Now, to somebody that might not know me, they might be like, or is viewing this for the first time, they might be like, those are big dreams for you, buddy. But go listen, you know what I'm saying? And see what I'm working with right now.
Yeah.
You cannot cut yourself short. Like, everything starts here, and then it carries over. One fan at a time, one neighborhood at a time, one city at a time, one state, internationally. You know, I'm blessed enough now that I'm getting booked in different states and countries, you know what I'm saying? Like, where several years ago that wasn't the case. But that would have never happened if my goal was only to be the top dude in Yonkers, or the top dude in the South Side, or the top dude from Culver and Livingston and Great Place, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta think beyond that. Like, that's just my thing to anybody that's going for this. Go for it, go big, or don't even do it, bro. It's not worth it.
Trust in the process. That's something that I say to myself all the time. That's something that when I've had the chance to speak, I tell people all the time, like, you have two things with the process. You always have to trust it, And you have to understand that the process never really stops.
Never.
Like I compare it to you suddenly get rich. Doesn't matter how, hopefully it's legal, but you somehow get rich. Even if you come up on, let's say, 1 million, the story doesn't end.
Nah.
The goal is, all right, how do I keep this, or how do I go to 2 million?
That's a fact. Let's turn this to generational wealth now.
Diet. All right, you lose 50 pounds. Salute. The story doesn't end because you lost 50 pounds. It's either how do you stay
maintain
at the
it.
weight,
That's a fact.
or how do you lose it more? How do you lose
Yeah.
more weight and stay in the shape that you're in, or get better? So I always believe that a lot of people don't understand that aspect of you have to go through your process. You have to trust, and you have to understand even when you do one thing, the process just restarts itself again.
Yeah.
And it's something that if you embrace it, it will make your pursuit so much easier.
That's a
Like
fact.
for me, my personal pursuits in media or with coaching and teaching, it's so easy for me to go through because outside of me loving what I do, I understand that the process is always there.
Yeah.
So there's a focus and a desire for me to overcome and do this process so I can get to the next one, and then get to the next one, and then get to the next one.
And to touch on that, you can't skip the process.
Yeah.
Cause there's no shortcuts, bro. Like that's the problem with people too. They don't realize like the only thing that works is hard work, bro. That's it. And that's the process. You cannot skip that. You don't get from here to there without the process. And in between that process
And
is
all
working.
of our processes vary.
Oh,
Not
definitely.
everybody's gonna hit right away.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like you talk about social media, like not everybody's gonna hit 1,000 followers right away. Not everybody's gonna hit 10. Like for a lot of us, it's gonna be like the homie Isaiah Thomas say. A lot of it's gonna be that slow grind. It's that slow grind. But if you're working and you're constantly doing it the right way, then you're gonna get to that point and you're gonna enjoy it along the way. You know, one of my favorite quote to say, because I got inspired by Trent Dilfer, obviously, you know, the former Super Bowl winning quarterback of the 2000 Baltimore Ravens.
Y'all, shout out to you being a sports dude too, because I'm a sports guy. You gotta come on our trap call one day too.
Yeah?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're a sports dude, you know what I'm saying?
Will do.
It's primarily sports and a whole bunch of other bullshit, but I need you there.
Sounds like a plan, man. It sounds good to me. And I remember I forgot who he was talking about, but it was an injured player. This was years ago. It was on ESPN. And I remember the quote he said was, he was like, your availability is your best ability.
That's a fact.
And I remember when I was thinking back to 3-4 years ago for me as a creator, like, yo, how am I like gonna get more recognized? How can I stand out in this very crowded, oversaturated crowd?
yeah.
That's gonna lead me to my next point for you to answer. And I remember I came up with this quote that I say all the time. And Gianni, I'm pretty sure I may have told you this at one point, not even saying it to be on some like braggadocious stuff, but I always say to myself all the time, and when I tell my friends this, your visibility is your best ability.
That's a fact.
I tell myself, I said my visibility is my best ability. So how can I get better? How can I stand out more? Putting stuff out there.
That's a fact.
I don't have to worry about quality if I know my stuff is of good quality and I have pride in that. So I just keep telling myself all the time, your visibility is your best ability. Your visibility is your best ability. Now, being an artist, like I said in the beginning, successful, independent, constantly working, you're traveling, you're working, you're merging, you're releasing very dope music, by the way.
Thank you.
How have you navigated this unbelievably packed world of hip hop?
Oh yeah, man.
And how do you see yourself navigating it now? Because only more people are coming in.
That's a fact.
The rules are constantly changing. The sounds are constantly changing. The values are changing. I mean, that goes back to rules, but still. How have you navigated, and how do you continue navigating it?
All right, so what I learned is trial and error, right?
Yes.
You don't learn by not doing. So
100%.
I decided to do. And there's a lot of times that you're gonna run into walls or problems. Like I've scrapped videos that I spent $1,000 on. It didn't come out right, it's not coming out. You dig?
Yeah.
Like my thing is your brand is the most important thing. So my product is my music, right?
Yeah.
But I am my own brand, and our collective and label is our brand, right? So nothing damages the brand. If you keep that mentality, you're in a good space. The
100%.
problem is so many people try to cut corners, and I understand because it's hard, right?
Yeah.
As a struggling artist, it's hard money-wise. Everything costs bread.
Yeah.
But if you try to cut them corners, it shows, and it'll hurt more than it'll help a lot of the time. You cannot put out something that's not right, bro. That's gonna kill you in the long run. So I realized that years ago, and I said, I'm gonna put out consistent content, I'm gonna put out quality content, and I'm gonna make sure that it's in their face just enough, but yet it's not oversaturating them. It's not over the top.
It lets them know that it's there.
It's there. And you have to keep a mystique about it too, where they want more. You understand? You want consumers wanting more, but you also want to give them enough to keep them satisfied. Because music is just like any other product. You, especially nowadays, if you don't got it, like, man, I sold things growing up. You dig? And anybody whatever it was, illegal, legal, whatever. Anybody that's ever been a hustler knows. If you don't have the product that the consumers are looking for, they get it elsewhere. Yeah. So you gotta make sure. My thing was to be exclusive enough to be not always just in your face with it, but available enough to know that when you need that fix of Casket and Mad Gifted and Bothered, it's there. You know what I'm saying? And that's been my thing. And work, man. I work like I said, I live in the stew, bro. Like, shout out to my producer, Grammy Salazar. We live there, bro. We create from scratch every day. Like, and that's my thing too, is I don't go in there with a preconceived record. Like, we going in there and creating it from scratch. We're sitting there with nothing on the table, just vibing, and all of a sudden, we're either going through samples and making it from right there, or we're sitting there, he's playing something original and it turns into something. I'm like, yeah, blase blah, this could work. You know, creating, bro. You have to create. Like, I remember, I think it was one of my homegirls recently that asked. On social media, not asked me personally. But like, they had a problem and they were saying like, how do you get through this funk, right? And she's an artist herself. And I was like, to be honest, what I do is work through it. Because life is life, right? Life is gonna hit you at all different angles at all times. But your art should also reflect life. So my thing is, I'm gonna work through it. When I'm in the funk, I'm gonna work through that. And that's gonna reflect in my art. And you're gonna get whatever I'm going through,
just
whether
like
it
on
be
the court,
pain.
if you're in a shooting slump, the worst thing to do is
Keep
to
shooting,
stop shooting.
right? You keep shooting, that's a fact.
Because all it takes is one.
That's a fact.
That's all it takes is one. And there was something I was about to say. Got it. When talking about that being exclusive but being available, I always use the analogy of YouTubers. So like, there was one YouTuber that I discovered a while ago when I was in high school, and I still follow his work now. Shout out to him. His name is Kane Carter. Hot Damn I Rock. He's an online comedian, all that stuff. Made funny videos. And I remember in the beginning with him, he was working to get to the point where he wanted people to check for him. But the more popular he got, it got to the point where he went to the other side where people are checking for him. And I feel like for all of us creators, that's just where we at. There's two sides to it. We're either at that point where we're trying to create enough to where we get people to check for us, so people go, oh yeah, Arden, Gianni, Casket, they do this and that, okay. And then it gets to the point where they're gonna check for you and be like, hey yo, where's it at? What's the product at? We need
that's
that.
A fact.
So I was happy you said that, because it's like, I always look at it as like, again, like, it's always those two stages. It's always those two stages we're always at as creators. And there's there's no getting out of it.
That's why I try to walk that thin line where it's like, I'm gonna give you enough to keep you satisfied, but wanting more at the same time. Because that's my brand. Even with my merch, man, I do a merch capsule for every release. When that merch is gone, that merch is gone. I might restock and come back, I might not. But that causes incentive for consumers to get it then. Because you might not get a chance to get it later. You know what I'm saying? And it's a piece of that art and that time. So the 80 Loafs LP came out in 2015. The merch that came with that was for them. Southie came out then, PPP, PPP2, the next album, everything in between, they all come with their own merch. It's time to get it when it's there. Don't wait, you know what I'm saying? Don't wait. But that's all. Marketing and branding is the most important part of any business. And believe me, if you are pursuing music, right? If you want this to be more than just a hobby, branding and marketing is everything.
100%.
Everything.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
And speaking of just music, I have to just compliment you on PPP too, because that was a really dope record to me. I said it before we started the interview. I said I have to add that to my growing list of favorite projects that I've been keeping since the beginning of the year. That I will unveil at the end of the year on the podcast. And the one thing I recognized about you was, I feel like you're that new age spitter that, of course, you can give us the product, you can give us the grimy, the nitty gritty feel. You can
For
give
sure.
us the street tells, but you have that versatility to express your other emotions inside.
Definitely,
And
sir.
I actually like this edition better than the first
One. Yeah, me too.
because I felt the versatility.
Me too.
Like I felt the versatility, I felt the emotion, which told me, I was like, all right, Casket's pen grew.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's challenged himself a bit more. Even on the records that were more upbeat, more hard, I felt like you even played around a bit in regards to just the features. So when you're coming on, again, we was talking about with the Shorts record, just you letting your feature cook first and set the table, and then you come through. Or maybe they come last. Or maybe you shortened your verse and your parts for the sake of them
For the sake of the
shining.
record, yeah, definitely.
And I thought that was really dope, because again, that's his growth. So
I
I just really
appreciate
wanted
that.
to tell you that.
The PPP series started to be kind of almost like mixtapey albums, right? Because I have Southie, I have an album that will be in the near future, Beautiful Struggle, Dangerous Freedom. I'm sitting on a couple solos, right?
Yeah.
My next album is called Everything in Between. But with the PPPs, it was supposed to be kind of like, all right, let's go back to where we came from with it, what we came up making, that kind of grimy, New York-esque, knocky music, shits that knock, right?
Yeah.
And I brought my brother Blizzard on board with me. Yo, here, I want you to get involved with this with me. Let's do it together, such and such. So he's a guest star. And the first one kind of was more mixtapey. That's why, right? The second one, when we got such a good response on it, that I said, you know what? Before I give them another album from me, we're gonna do another volume.
Yeah.
Fuck it, let's do it.
I think this one was just more cohesive.
It was,
more
because it was
focused.
constructed
Yeah.
as an album. Even though the content was still themed similar to the first one, but it was constructed as an album, as opposed to the first one was not constructed really like an album. It was more so kind of a mixtape.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Presented as an album. Where the second one was, this is not Southie and this is not Everything in Between and such, my solo records, but this is all, you're gonna know that this is an album. You know what I'm saying? And I think everybody agrees that that's our favorite of the two volumes. It was just like, the difference between them was that, and right there, like, I just felt like, I'm gonna let off on this, man. I'm gonna let off clips on every record. You're gonna leave hearing that record like, damn, yo, I don't know if that nigga went crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the type of joints that I want to give you on those. Like, and we're gonna have more volumes of PPP coming and stuff like that. Shout out to the Blizzard. He got an album we've been constructing right
Definitely will check that out, that's for sure. A couple more questions I have for you along with another song. Do you truly believe in rappers, just in general, it doesn't have to be just a Yonkers thing or a Westchester thing or a New York thing, but do you really believe that rappers should have this unity amongst them, or is it just a matter of, hey, bruh, we're all in it by ourselves. I'll see you when I see you. We'll link up. We'll build.
Yeah.
Or do you believe that, hey, guys, like, we should really be in it together? Like,
All right, so-
I can cook just like you can cook.
Yeah,
This
that's-
is not a matter of there's too many chefs in the kitchen.
Nah, I agree with that. There's a lane for everybody. That's one thing I would say. I feel like some people, right, might feel that, me personally, that I'm not the biggest unity guy. And that's true. I really am not. And it's not.
I've just started turning into that.
Yeah.
When it came to other stuff, man, I was like, look, man, hope you guys do good. I'm all about me. Like,
Yeah,
I really was.
and that's the thing, is that it's not necessarily that I'm just about me and mine, but I am. But I know, for me, it's like, I think unity is a great thing if it's genuine.
We talk
right?
about it again, that genuine,
And
that G word.
And I'm a lot of people say support who supports you, right? I'm not a fan of that saying,
Yeah.
for one particular reason. I support what I think is dope. Now, I could want the best for you and want you to succeed if you're a genuine person, but that doesn't mean I think your product is dope. You understand? If you have a dope product, I'm gonna be a consumer and a supporter because it's something that I want, I crave, I actually genuinely like. I'm not gonna put my stamp on something that I don't.
You're not necessarily always giving endorsements.
I'm not.
It's similar to folks on Twitter that goes, hey guys, a retweet's not an endorsement. It's just me
Like
retweeting. It's
that-
just awareness.
The support, who supports you thing never sat right with me. I understand the concept of it, and in in the grand scheme of things, yes, it's beautiful, right? It sounds beautiful, and yes, we would love to. But if I supported everybody who supported me, I'd be supporting a lot of trash.
Yeah.
Let's keep it all the way. Okay? So I appreciate everyone who supports me. But everyone that supports me, a lot of the time what they're doing, they're not putting in the man hours like I am to put out the quality that I am. And it's not just music, it's just anything. There's like, you know, I can't put my stamp on everything. So I do believe in unity, but I believe in it when it's deserved, when you're putting out a product there, people judge you on your product. Yeah, you could be the coolest dude in the world, bro. We could be mad cool. Like, you could be my homie. Let me see somebody fronting on you. I'll be the first one to stall on them. I'll tee off on them right now. But at the same time, if you're putting something out there to sell and I don't think it's worthy, I'm not necessarily going to be sitting there stamping it, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's just me being a genuine person.
Because it comes back to you.
Yes.
It's a character judgment.
Yes.
It's a character judgment.
It is. And I don't feel like I'm fake like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I put my name on something that I actually like. That's why I was like, when we reached out to each other and we started speaking, I was like, yo, I appreciate your podcast. Because I checked it out and I'm like, it's dope.
Yeah.
If I didn't, I wouldn't have said that. You could have been dope to me because you're a great dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've spoke numerous times now to know. I know your character, you're a great dude. If your product wasn't dope to me, it wasn't dope to me. I wouldn't have shitted on it. That's my thing, is that when you don't got some, I used to be I'm very opinionated. So I used to talk about it. Now I don't. I only speak on things that I positively like. Yeah. If I don't like something, I don't ever bash it. I don't touch on it, but I won't support it either. Yeah. If I like it, I'm going to big you up. I have a thing on my Instagram called Love Day. And it's usually with musicians, but it's other things too, clothing brands and stuff like that. Yep. And it's stuff that I'm actually genuinely knocking. If I'm in my car knocking somebody's joint, I'm like, you know what? Let me show them love. It's Love Day today. So I'm going to knock people's stuff and put it out there. I'm not doing that to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that because, it's the right thing to do. I'm doing it because you did something that I think is dope, bro. Yeah. And you know what? I might have a bigger platform than you, or maybe I don't, but either way, I want to share my platform with you because I feel you deserve it.
I used to do that on Twitter, where I used to give random shout-outs to, like, my fellow writers. Yeah. And, like, folks I just thought was dope. I used to be, like, 10, 12 tweets deep, mad mentions. And these just come out of nowhere because it's, like, for you, like, when you talk about Love Day, it would just be the same with me, like, on some, like, yo, man, like, I know a lot of dope creatives, man. Yeah. Like, and it doesn't matter what level we're on, but it's just like,
I would like you to get some type of shine because your hard work is deserve it. It's deserving so.
And it's just, even if other people don't know, I know.
I see.
It's like what Pac said. If Tupac cares, when nobody else cares.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's how I felt. Like, I was like, yo, I care about your mission, even if you're bigger than me in terms of the social media. Yeah. My love and support for you is still there.
Bigger or smaller, bro, it's if it's dope, it's dope, and I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a creator, so anybody that's creating, whatever it is, if it's dope, I'm gonna be there. Yeah. I spend my money too. Like, I'm a spender. You know what I'm saying? I'll buy your joint, I'll buy your clothing, I'll do this. Like, I just want people to know that if you're putting product out in this world, make sure it's worthy of getting that support.
100%.
And back to that other point that you was talking about, like, before, and I was saying, like, you got to get out of your city. Stop worrying about who doesn't support you.
100%.
People focus on that too much. It's like, don't worry about that, bro.
I agree.
Go forward. Make somebody else support you then. Prove to like, it's always, like, I had a young boy from my town, and he's talented, but he wasn't known, right? So his music isn't known because he's not known. And I told him, I say, yo, bro, some people, music ain't gonna be as good as yours, but they're gonna get a quicker burn than you locally because they're known locally, right? So people are gonna check for that person because however they got out there as a person, that's clout for them. You know what I'm saying? So they're utilizing that to push their music, which they should. You, on the other hand, are not known. So you have to find a way to get your music out there, your talent out there more. And don't necessarily think it has to be here. They could be last, your city could be last to know about you. It hasn't happened with me. I was blessed enough that my city embraced me right away. But that's not everybody. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand that. People dwell on the negative too much. I feel like, yo, go forward, bro. Stop worrying about who's doing this and who's doing that. Go forward. And I think we should have that unity, though. Like I said, I just want it to be genuine.
high key, rap would be very different if literally every artist nowadays would have been like, yo, even though I got like freaking 500,000 loyal fans, this other 500,000 ain't messing with me. So I'm just gonna focus on them. Like, rap would be so much different than what it is now, because as you see with all artists, you have all artists today that are truly going, look, for as much as I may make records, for as much as I may do certain things to get the other audiences and stuff, I'm rocking with my core. So even if I have dreams of selling out 20,000, if I got a strong, that 1,000 fans that will pop out to the shows for 30 dates,
that's a fact.
Guess who I'm rolling with?
That's a fact.
If I got a strong 10, 20, 30 or whatever thousands, or even to the folks that are in the hundreds, folks that keep on following me, I'm gonna focus on maintaining that and building upon that, because eventually folks are gonna catch on.
100%. I'm gonna break this down, right? This is for the artists right here that are on the come up and maybe struggling right now and trying to find their way in this tough ass game. If you have 100 genuine supporters, right, as opposed to having 10,000 non-support, fair weather listeners, not supported, listeners, right? 100 people. If I do a show and it's $20 at the door, you do the math on that. Now, I split the door with any venue I'm doing, or whatever, or we work out a flat rate, whatever it is. The point is, or merchandise. If I'm charging $30 for a hoodie, and 100 people out of them 10,000 are definitely going to, that's the people, that's support. Those are real fans. A casual listener is not necessarily a fan. And I live by this quote, and I said it in multiple interviews, and I'll say it again. You don't have one fan at all if everyone who listens to you is someone you know. You haven't even gained one fan yet, bro. That's real. That's the problem with people. They don't understand the value of support. That's why I have an album coming out, everything in between, shameless plugs all day, right? We're gonna have it for pre-order a couple weeks in advance. For pre-order, we will be giving out a free everything in between shirt with proof of purchase.
Yeah.
Because I know when it drops, 90% of my support is not gonna purchase, they're gonna download it or stream it, which is great, I appreciate that. But you know where that money comes in? From the buying. So here's incentive to buy it now. If you pre-order it 2 weeks, I'm giving y'all game, bro, and this is to be sold, not told. I don't do this, bro, because I learned this from hard work and effort, year in and year out, spending my own hard-earned money that I wasn't recouping for years, that now I'm finally seeing profit and feeding my family off of this. So take heed to this, people, because I'm giving y'all real game. Focus on giving incentive for people to purchase your stuff, whether it be your music, your clothes, your product, whatever it is, because that's how you eat. You don't eat any other way. You eat from shows and merchandise. You're not eating from streams. You're not eating from people reposting your tweets. You're not eating from them posting you on Instagram. That's not how you feed in yourself. So if you want to actually make this a business, you have to find ways to do that. And in order to do that is by giving incentive, making quality product and getting it out there to people. Stop focusing on the people that you see daily, bro. Focus, man. It's out there for the taking. There's a lane for everybody. Hip hop's in a beautiful space, man. There was once a time where there couldn't be old people. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you was old rapping, you was corny.
Yeah.
Now Ho's the coolest thing smoking. He's 50 years old, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that is true.
We're not babies no more. Hip hop's not a baby genre no more. It is compared to other music genres, but we're growing. And there's people with purple hair. There's LGBT artists.
Yeah.
There's old dudes. There's all different cultures, right? You can be yourself. There's people that make emo rap is really alternative rap. It's equivalent to grunge of rock. That wouldn't happen a decade ago.
Wouldn't have.
You gotta embrace, there's a lane for everybody. So that's why I say it's like when you were saying with the unity, and yes, we should have unity. But know that there's a lane for you. You don't have to be somebody you not, man. Carve your own lane. Work hard for it. Like, people will support that. Look at M and X. This is my prime example, right? And X especially. Us being from YO, we got to dap it up for that. Shout out to the dog, man. X, mad people told him no. That's way too hard. This will never work in this climate of music right now. You had Puff with the shiny suits. That's what was popping off at the moment. It was so real that Jigga even tried to become that and realized, whoa, this isn't us. We're Rockefeller, we're hustlers. He had to go back and go back to the drawing board and get back to the basics, right? Even Nas. And I love it. I love it was written, but he even went with that kind of mafioso where that was, and the firm.
Randomization existed in 97 through 99.
Here you go. You had to go back, right, to the essence. They told X it wouldn't work. They told M around that same time this would never work. And them two artists for M still, but X and M for a 5-year window were the biggest things in music, not in hip hop, in music, period. You know what I'm saying? So don't think that you have to conform and follow the trends. Be true to yourself and your art form and make a lane, man. Stop being scared to work. Nothing works but hard work. And that's why these people be failing, bro. Because they keep jumping bandwagon to bandwagon. They trying to suck a bigger artist's dick all the time to get to the next level instead of working hard and gaining support, gaining actual supporters, gaining actual fans, man. Put stuff out there that people want. And if they don't want this yet, then go back to the drawing board and keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Last question I got for you before you play your last song. If there is one thing you can tell your previous self, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what would it be?
Keep going, which I did, and thank God it's been fruitful for me and mine. And to trust your vision. It's a vision that I've had for a long time, and I see now. It's funny because I was talking to my brother Watson recently about it, and I was like, you know, we're working on a compilation, Mad Gift and Bala compilation album that'll be out, and you know, we're all headstrong and stuff like that, and if this was several years ago, putting that together would have been a little bit more difficult because I feel like we're headstrong and we're all very talented and opinionated, so it just would have been working with 6, 7, 8, 9 people. It's hard to do that, but I feel because what I've done in the last 5 years has proven myself and execution to not only myself but to my peers that it's not a difficult process now. When I have a vision, a lot of the time people understand, like, you know what? I might not see it yet, but I believe in you, so I believe that it's gonna work. And then as it unfolds, it does. Even with the PPP series, Grammy Salazar, my main producer, he was like, I'm sitting on several solo albums. And he's like, yo, why wouldn't you just, you know, Southie's doing great, why wouldn't you just follow up with one of your solos that you got, you know, is either close to finished or we finish up on one of those? I'm like, nah, bro, we're gonna do this first. And he didn't get it at first. And then when the first PPP started coming together and the finished product was there, because he was a part of the creation process, he was like, it's dope, bro, yeah. And a lot of his people that he was putting on to the music, and they were just starting to get in tune with everything that was going on because we started working together heavily at that years prior, but they were really getting put onto it at that time.
100%.
From Southie on, they fell in love with it too.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, sometimes you see things because you're supposed to before the others. And you gotta trust that. And that's one thing I have done, but a lot of the time you try to cater to people because you're in a circle or you care about them so much, and sometimes you gotta fly without them in order to come back and pick them up. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I think I've done well and I've learned, but because I got such a big heart that I try to do that, sometimes you gotta drop the dead weight a little bit in order to situate yourself and for the bigger picture, us, and then be able to say, you know what, let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like, I know I have a way bigger platform now than I did 5 years ago. So whatever I can do to help my loved ones now is more than I could have did then, because I just have a better avenue to do that. So, you know what I'm saying? But that would have never happened if I just sat back and been like, oh, this ain't working together. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta sometimes you gotta just go.
I totally agree, man. And to conclude this interview, what is the last song you would like to play that you feel really represents you?
Definitely. So I got 2 joints, right? But one is already out on Southie.
Yeah.
and it's called Land of the Lost. It's not one of the records that we shot a visual for, but it's super personal to me. Each verse touches on things that lessons learned, right? So in the hook, it's talking about I should have listened to what my mama said and all of that, right? And each verse touches on some of those things. I like to shout out my cousin Angel, rest in peace. She was murdered several years back, and on the first verse, I touch on that. It's so crazy that the actual week that Southie released, this was a cold case for years, like a decade. And all of a sudden, DNA, somebody was stopped down in Florida, and his DNA ended up coming up positive for her and another murder in the Bronx. And that happened literally in the same week that that album dropped. And it was like, yo, you know, that's like, if that ain't divine, I don't know what the fuck is. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely is.
So right now he's facing trial or whatever. I haven't been going or anything like that. And whatever, like I said, he'll get his one way or another, whether it's through the penal system, through the streets, or through the good Lord. But it's just a very personal track of life lessons I learned, or other people that I was close to learn. And I touched on her, so I think that's a real personal record I would love people to touch on. And the one I want to play for you is, and the public, is off the new album coming out called Everything in Between.
Nice.
And I was torn between two records. Now, I got a song called Betray You.
Okay.
And I got a song called The Wasteland. But I think I'm going to run with The Wasteland because it's the closeout record, and it's about my hometown of Yonkers and kind of touching on the north and south sides, and you know, it's a dope record.
The uniting of it, I definitely can't wait, man.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll be shooting the visual actually coming up too, so we'll be popping up on the hood. Shout out to some of these hoods we touched on too. Shout out to the whole south side and north side, man. I rock with y'all, and I appreciate y'all rocking with me.
Yeah,
hopefully
big.
we're gonna get in there and get y'all in some cameos, you know what I'm saying, because this is for the town, this is for the city.
Facts, man. Being able to unite is so important, especially in a town as big as Yonkers, man.
For sure,
It's
man.
not just North Yonkers, not just South Yonkers. It's together as one, you know? So definitely can't wait to hear this. And in the meantime, as we get this song ready, again, I really appreciate you guys, first-time viewers, multiple-time viewers of anything Foresight related, for taking in this interview. Again, the second edition of The Punchin', featuring the talented Casket D. Make sure you follow him on all socials. Make sure you definitely check out the music. Definitely also make sure you're in tune musically with his upcoming releases, merch, touring, all of that good stuff.
For sure.
And definitely make sure you're following us on all socials at Foresight Pod.
Foresight, baby.
Listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and watch us on YouTube. Ready for this record?
No doubt. Here you go. All yours, King.
Yes, let's get it. The Wasteland, man.
Yeah, this is the closeout record for the album.
Nice. Who's behind the keys?
Grammy. He's on the keys.
Talented, yeah. Talented.
So this is my cousin, Genesis.
Oh, snap, okay.
He part of the camp.
This is what I was talking about with the features, the ability to feature others. Let them go. Wow, that's a tough line.
He's talented.
Only time they trust in God
When they bleeding or they reading cash.
or when they giving cash.
It's hard.
That's hard. I like that. I like that. Remember that.
That's my young cousin, man. He came up under me, and he's a beast.
Okay. Okay. Auto-tune. All right. How often Because again, like I was saying with the last project that you recently came out with, have you been, experimenting with singing and more melodies and things
harmony.
like that?
For a few years now. I did it. The first record I ever really released where I started doing that was a song a long time ago called Rap Star. Okay. This was probably like 2012. And that's when I realized, like, I could play with this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? And more so, like, this is a joint that I'm extremely proud of how it came out as far as, like, harmonizing and the melody with it. But it's all about getting, I like to shout out my man Sav, too. Sav is a beast with the auto-tune, and my partner, my brother, Go DJ Guap 2020. He used to be Go DJ Guap. 2020 Guap, BKA Cheddar, as y'all know from the vlog. But he's a beast. That engineers really make the things, right? So you're nothing without your engineer. And I only will do auto-tune records with Sav, 2020 Guap, or my man Slop too, Sloppy Joe at Lawsboro. I'm not a big fan on overusing auto-tune. With them, they get it to the right pitch where I need it, and it's not just like overbearing. Because I'm not singing, I'm just harmonizing and melody. You know what I'm saying? So I need it to where it's right. And we've sat there for a couple, getting this record correct, you know.
Nice. Up next.
They embrace me, pay my dues with no fees. Columbia bugaboos, I was running through packs. By the hour to show they power, they fuck with you, the D's. You ain't get the breeze, they cuffing you. Ask you a question, remain silent, catch a snuff or two. Probably to the ribs, I'm poppy.
I'm telling you, man, it's just the pacing. The pacing catches my ear, man.
That's what I try to do too. I try to be able to play with the flow enough where even if you're not a lyric head, right? So I had, for women that, not everyone, I don't want to stereotype women, right? Because there are some women that love lyrics, but a lot of them aren't lyric-driven listeners. And for two reasons, I've always had so much success with women, and it's been very beneficial to my career. My track voice attracts them, and I play with my flow enough where, although I'm not a singy, rappy type guy, it's still in pocket enough where it's bouncy, where it's like,
it matters.
It gets them moving. That delivery, that delivery is what soothes them. You know what I'm saying? So that's helped me from early on, like my track voice and to be able to play with your flow enough.
Man, just to get a little more of this, because this is dope. And this is a closeout? Yeah, this makes for a good closeout. The way you're handling this also tells me that you was definitely paying attention to that time where Round Browns had some records.
Oh, Round Brown. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he not a singer. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like those type of records?
Definitely. You learn how to manipulate yourself to what you mean.
This is it. News clips. So, hey, man.
I just realized something. If you hear not the next clip, but there's another news clip in there. Today, it's talking about my man Mike, and rest in peace, my man Mike. Today is actually the anniversary of when he was actually shot, and he ended up passing 3 weeks later, succumbing to his wounds and all of that. He was shot in his head, and it's bugging me out now. I'm tripping thinking about it, because today is the actual day, and I didn't even think about that when playing this record. But once you said news clips, and I realized, oh shit, there's a whole news clip about my brother Mike, and it's like, damn, like, I guess that goes back to that whole like divine thing that I was talking about. It's bugged out, man. So rest in peace to my brother Mike, man.
Thoughts
we miss you.
Prayers to the family. But dude, I'm telling you, you have done so much and will continue doing a lot. I think it's just for the culture, man. Just for what we need, for what we represent. Like, when you put in so much work as you have, man, it goes bigger than it gets bigger than this, yo. We do it for the neighborhood, for the town, for the state. It's a matter of rap runs even better. Artists like you are involved, that are A1 professionals, that are genuine, that are focused, and have that legitimate pride in their work and where they're from and stuff like that. So
I concur, man.
that's why when developing the series and of course talking it over with the Foresight team, but me really being hands-on about it, that's why when I was really thinking about, all right, who do I really want to kick this off with for the first couple episodes to really bring it in with
drill
a
it in the
bang.
head, yeah, for sure.
That's why it made sense. I was like, Steele Leon's one of them, and I gotta talk to Casket. So
No.
I'm like, those two make a bunch of sense and damn near every area I could think of for
I
a
appreciate
great guest.
that,
So
man.
again, I really appreciate you for coming on.
I appreciate that, man.
Thank you as always
It
for
was
capturing
dope,
the
you
vision,
heard?
always executed perfectly. Again, signing off from the Guitar Center.
Foresight, man. Make sure you
Yeah.
in tune with what's going on. Mad Gifted and Bothered, Casket D. Google me. Be on the lookout for Blizzard. I gotta shout the team. Be on the lookout for Jason's, the Pax, PJ Johnson, Genesis, Production, Grammy Salazar. You know what I'm saying? Domex, Slop, the whole Lost Borough, man. Get
Yeah.
right.
That's right, man. So again, signing off, second edition of the Punch In, Arden from Foresight. Simply that, man. See ya.